What up everyone, it is Nate with Streetwavve. Hey, I just want to welcome you to a brand new sit-down series. We begin here today at 20th in Baltimore. We're inside a studio upstairs, so let's go check it out. Bella Donna, how's it going?
Hello, it is going super great.
So we're here in a very unusual spot today.
Yes.
Would you like to tell a little bit about it?
So we are at Brush Coast Studio. It's in the Crossroads. This is honestly one of my favorite studios to come to because it has a lot of space and you can do a lot of different types of shoot depending on what you move around. It's just a really good place to go.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know that we talked prior to this about like what we would imagine the shoot to be like and the expectations or preparations for this shoot. Could we maybe like talk through that of like for you personally, like your steps preparing for this?
Yeah, so I really like pushing myself and pushing my friends around me who are creative to do different things and coming up with things I either haven't seen before or, you know, the things that I haven't done before, and I just love creating, and that's why I do modeling. It's my creative outlet. And so I had been wanting to do a makeup editorial for a while where it focuses on just these kind of shots because it challenges me because I have less to work with. You can't get the rest of your body involved. It's all about what is right here, which I want to continue to grow and be challenged. And so the makeup artist Hannah, I had been following her for a while on Instagram, as well as I had met her, and she posted one of her amazing makeup looks she did, and it just kind of finally gave me the, you know what, like she should be the makeup artist. I really want to get her involved. And then the photographer Cameron, we work together all the time. Anytime I have an idea, I usually ask him to shoot it because I know he will make my vision come to life, and I'm going to get good quality out of it. But the process for it, I'm inspired by a little bit of everything. I will be inspired by a mural I see while I'm driving down the street. I'll be inspired by something I see someone else do on Instagram or Pinterest. I'm just constantly looking for things to inspire me and then trying to do it differently. I never want to copy, unless the intention is to recreate the photo kind of thing. Right. But so yeah, I knew I wanted to do the makeup editorial and just kind of got together a couple ideas, and then I met with Hannah, the makeup artist, and I really wanted to give her a lot of creative freedom on what the makeup looks would look like, because I knew I wanted to do heavy makeup editorial shoot, but I don't do makeup, so I was like, you get creative. Like, you know, we talked about colors to focus on. We went with purple and gold, and she came up with 4 different looks. This is one of my favorites with the gold eyebrows. I just think it's really cool. And yeah, I love doing different things and new things. And especially with makeup, there's so much you can do. When we were talking concepts, we had like 10 different concepts we were talking about, and we had to narrow it down to what was the most feasible and what we wanted to do.
We have just 4 different ones today, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so this is the second look.
The second one.
We started with a more simple look, and then each time we add on and add more. That way it evolves, but it's never the exact same look, but it's also cohesive.
Right.
And you also don't have to start over, like she doesn't have to take off all this makeup and start over for the next look. For the next look, we're going to, I think, add more lip color, add a little more to the eyeshadow, and then for the final look, we're gonna be bringing some stuff to my neck, and again, adding more, and yeah, it's really fun doing that and like seeing the progression.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Just going back a little bit, do you remember your first modeling shoot?
Well, so that's funny actually. My very first modeling shoot, I was like 2 or 3 years old. I was a baby model.
Wow.
But when my brother was born, I was 4 when my brother was born, and so my mom stopped taking me to stuff because one, she said I was a brat, which I don't doubt. I just flicked a nail off.
That's fun.
Press on nails, man.
Right.
But my first shoot, like, since actually doing it for myself, I got started modeling through the college I went to, Stevens College, women's school. Go to it if you're a woman. I always plug my school. I'm so proud of it. But
That's awesome.
It's a fashion-based school, and so I was in a fashion program, and the fashion photography program, they get assignments, and you use other students as the models because that's what's easy and accessible. And so that's actually how I got started in modeling, was just for school projects. And then I kind of started posting them on Instagram, and then people started reaching out to me outside of my school. So my first photo shoot was outside of school, I think was in Chicago. Yeah, and it was just some like simple portraits around the city. But that was my first shoot outside of school, I think. And I'm still friends with the guy. I think it was like a couple guys. It was like 3 Michaels and a Jonathan. I'm not even kidding. There were 3 Michaels because it was Michael cubed.
I've actually never been to Chicago, so I have like no idea
I love
what
Chicago.
there is to. What's your favorite spot in Chicago?
Oh, I don't know it quite that well.
Right.
I just love going there.
That's okay.
So it's. I decided to move to Kansas City after I graduated because
Yeah.
I wanted to move to Chicago, but it was too expensive, and the weathers there the winters there like suck. Here, the winters aren't great, but they're not that bad. The winters up in Chicago are absolutely terrible. And so when I visited Kansas City for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a smaller, cleaner version of Chicago. I should move here.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, and I really like it here. So it's just a much larger version, kind of.
Do you have a favorite spot here in the city that you
Here?
like prefer to shoot at, outside, inside?
Ooh.
A hidden gem? Somewhere we should check out?
Ooh. I really like shooting in the river market a lot because you can get a lot of different kinds of looks and feels. You know, you can get that exposed brick look, and then there's also the city market with the farmers market, which is really fun. And yeah, there's just a lot of different places to shoot in Kansas City, inside and outside.
Right.
I'll kind of drive around sometimes and just look for different spots and kind of scope it out. Yeah.
Nice. I think the river market's like spectacular, just the sense that the culture is really diverse.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's such a mix of different things going on: Ethiopia, Indian, Middle
Yeah.
Eastern, you know, Vietnamese, and it's just like that. The vibe down there is completely different from, you know, 4 blocks north or south
Which
from
is
there.
downtown. Yeah.
Right.
The first year I lived in Kansas City, I lived in River Market, and I absolutely like that's a great place to live like your first year in
first year,
Kansas
yeah.
City. It was awesome.
Because you can walk to get groceries.
Yeah,
You can
and
walk
it's
to get
also
drinks.
super accessible. It's
Right.
not far away from anything, but it's
right.
also a really fun area.
How do you think modeling's been, or is it growing going into like the end of 2018 to 2019 kind of in the pathway of modeling here in the city, you know, and getting bigger?
Yeah.
Opportunities?
I definitely think the modeling scene and photography scene in Kansas City is always growing. The hard thing is though, like you have to challenge yourself because as far as outside opportunities coming to Kansas City, there's not a ton. You kind of have to create, not that this is an opportunity, but you have to, I create a lot of my own concepts for photo shoots.
You create opportunities.
Yes, yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's more about challenging yourself and pushing yourself. And that's why I like getting a lot of other people involved in photo shoots, like makeup artists, stylists, photographer, you know, as many local designers,
Right.
as many people as I can get involved, the better, because that's just more people who will see it and more of their friends who will see it and more people to just even be excited about doing it,
Right.
and then they get to use it.
Well, you're creating a vibe, essentially.
Yeah.
You're creating that atmosphere for people to enjoy themselves and be able to share opinions and their creative thoughts without, you know, this is a bad idea or a good idea. It
Yeah,
doesn't really fucking matter
absolutely.
on what is a good and bad idea. I believe like any idea is a good idea. Just say it.
You just
it
might
be
have
good, it
to
might not
hone
be.
in on it,
Right.
on the good
like
part
maybe
of it.
maybe explain a little bit more on that part of what you're trying to say. But
Yeah.
I think that's awesome to create a space for people to come alive.
Yeah.
You know. So just moving forward, also, is there anything new that you've been working on? Like next week, are you still here in Kansas City? Are you off into another shoot or?
So I always have stuff going. I'm always planning. I actually, and my boyfriend gets on me about this, I have to schedule downtime because otherwise I will just book myself like crazy because I like creating and I like being busy and I like doing different things.
Well, you take initiative.
Yeah,
You, like we said, create opportunity. That's
Yes.
essentially what you do. I think that's great because like going into like your consulting or coaching as well, like I think you're building up your self-esteem and who you are and the image that you want to be. And that's exciting to share with people.
And that's totally why I also offer model coaching and consultations. The model consultations are beneficial to everybody, but I definitely work more with newer models, people who are either just starting or want to start. And I encourage people to do it because it is something that even if you're doing it for fun, getting in front of a camera and seeing the photos after, it enhances your self-confidence because you're like, oh my gosh, that's me. You know, I look amazing.
Right.
And it's really good for the self-esteem as long as you have a positive mindset ahead of time also.
Yeah.
But I really like working with new models and just helping them out and letting them know that, you know, when I first started, I wasn't great, you know, like you grow into it.
Right.
Yeah, it's all like with anything, it's practice.
Yeah, I mean, my podcast isn't as good as where I began to where it is now. You know,
Yeah.
there has to be growth in that.
Yeah,
I think
there's
the problem and the negativity comes in when we put a cap on something. For like instance, like you've done 20 shots in the city, and you think that's a cap, and you put that on yourself because now I can't grow because I'm in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And I think that's an excuse. So I really admire that you just go, you know what, fuck that. I'm gonna make more opportunities for myself and for people to be a part of it
You have to
and do
push
different
yourself,
shots. Yeah, that's great. And it's waking up to do something exciting rather than waking up and being like, why in the fuck am I still here?
Yeah.
Or like, I hate this town.
Exactly.
You know, and I try to tell people that have been around me most recently, like, let's flip that. Let's make the city better. And I'm not here to like be super positive, man, but like, I think people they just get negative too quick.
I actually saw, and I'm definitely paraphrasing this quote, but there was something where someone was talking about how people keep moving to these cities that they view as really awesome, and they are awesome cities. But the quote basically was like, don't move to a cool city, make your city cool.
Exactly.
Like,
I couldn't have said it
don't
better.
leave here and move to Chicago because you want because there's more opportunities there. Stay here and create those opportunities and make Kansas City or wherever you are a place that people now want to go. Yeah.
Definitely, I agree. You hear that, Kansas City? We need to make this place better. We're done.